Since I've gotten to the sergeant level in cards, I'm facing some pretty crazy decks. In this one, I am just overwhelmed. Tune in to see how it happens here on Legendary Tactics. Now, sergeant level, or level 17, doesn't seem to me to be a particularly high level. However, I'm running against some really strong decks. So I was trying out a German deck in this case. Now, I haven't played the German faction a lot, so I don't necessarily have the strongest cards. But I put together what I thought was a reasonably decent deck, and I bolstered it with the Americans, which are always good for economy. And they've got some great units as well, reasonably priced and with good strength. So I did my usual kind of start. I love dropping that 2/2 as an opening move with the Americans. They do a damage to that unit in the HQ. I figured that wasn't too big a deal. And I could see a kind of a ramp up that I could potentially utilize here. I've got a lot of like very reasonably priced cards to use, so I thought, oh, this will be perfect. I'll be able to utilize just to get a good jump on my enemy here. And the Soviet player, my opponent, played that 1/8 with guard, which is a really great card. I didn't have a lot of options that I was really excited about, so I decided to get some extra credits next turn. I figured that there wasn't a lot of damage that 1/8 could do. But then cards like Frontal Assault turn up. Now, nothing happened with that card, and I'm not sure exactly why, whether it was a game glitch or whether there was just a mistake on the part of my opponent. But at any rate, I had a US unit up in the front line. Perfect time to play a Sherman with those extra credits and grab a couple of additional cards. So overall, I'm feeling pretty good here. There's nothing that is really causing me a lot of trouble except for that guard unit. I use my my little airstrike card there to get rid of his artillery, and so I'm feeling pretty good with a Sherman down and some air units down. And then I realized, okay, I'm up against a Russian aggro deck, and now the boosts start coming. And I know I did a video, it was kind of done tongue-in-cheek a few videos ago on this, but about how weak Soviet aggro decks are. And I totally understand that with buff cards, they can do a lot better. But the decks I was facing didn't have any buff cards, so it never made any sense to have a whole bunch of light infantry charging up without any cards to boost them. Why run that deck without the proper cards? Didn't make any sense to me. So that's why I did that video, kind of criticizing the decks I was running up against. Now, even with that strong unit there's a lot of it has a lot of health, but otherwise I was feeling pretty good. I've got a full support line, and again, does a damage, but damages my opponent's own HQ, so that to my mind is a help. I'm not really seeing a lot of threat here, except now that guard gets really boosted. So obviously we need to start thinking about taking it out. And there's some light infantry that gets pushed to the front line. Very smart on my enemy's part, just to make it a little bit harder for me to empty up my support line, kind of clog things up a little bit. So I need to advance in order to free up some space. And right now I'm just trying to figure out how to get rid of that 811, because that is obviously a a bit of an issue. And so I'm looking at things. I mean, obviously artillery is great if you can hit it from afar in any way, especially if you don't get damaged. That's even better. So I thought, well, let's advance these units. They're not that strong, but at least get that one unit up there. And then I decided in the end to get a good strong armor unit down. Again, my support line is full, but look at all those reserve cards going into his draw deck. So this could be a problem. And this is what's so funny about these decks, is that at sergeant level, I seem to be running into decks that are either really weak and easily crushed, or they're unstoppable. It's this very I hadn't encountered that up to this level, and I've been bouncing around at sergeant for a little while now, trying to bust through to the next to level 16, and on my way to field marshal. So at any rate, I charge ahead. We get the that neat little card there to get a boost, and I play a lot of my cards actually, but they're boosted. I've got that 815 now down to 88, and I've got enough to wipe it out this time, and then I don't see a lot else behind, except for that one, which does a bit of damage there, but that's okay. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. But we do need to take out that guard unit, and now I'm in a good position to get rid of it. So and start to really do some damage. I'm going to take out this. Yeah. So I attacked, and it didn't take out that unit, which I found a bit odd, but it's okay. I was able to get rid of it. It did a little bit more damage to my forces than I'd expected, and I feel like I'm pretty well set up still for something that is, you know, I can build from here. The mortar unit, I'm not a massive fan of that unit actually. I'm waiting. As soon as I get a better card at that price point, I'm going to switch it out. Mainly because it's okay, but it needs to be adjacent to the units that it's shooting at, and it tends to be more of a space filler, and not very good late game. So so here comes some more light infantry, and as you might expect, and now front lines are getting a bit more full. Suddenly I'm beginning to feel the Blitz, I guess the Russian human wave, I think they called it back at the time, the Soviet wave, and there's a lot of units now. Front, I don't have the capacity to take out a ton of them. I'm going to take out one of these weaker ones, and just to make sure I'm not accidentally overwhelmed, and then I'm going to be able to repair with that unit. Not the best use of that card, obviously, but I figured I still had some time here. I still got a 4, 5, and 6 in hand, which means there's some options as far as playing some of the stronger cards here. And it's funny, I still didn't feel like I was really in rough shape. And now more light infantry turn up on the support line. Now we've got a full front line, and mass attack basically destroys my strongest unit. And again, just kind of chipping away, nothing too serious. But here, the next turn is when the power of this deck really comes to the fore. So I was really thinking about what unit I could bring on board. That P-51 Mustang is great, but I just don't like to waste it if there's no air unit. So I was just trying to figure out what would be the best option. I was just going to take out the more powerful units leaving behind those light infantry for me to deal with, and I figured I'd be able to get a nice strong unit up that I could last a while, and full front line of Soviet units and supply front. And suddenly my position does not look so hot, and I begin to take some damage, not only from the artillery but from the front line. Now I've got a bit of a mess on my hands because I have to somehow figure out how to take these units out without a lot of ability to strike back. I can take out one at a time, but this is where the overwhelm begins, because I really, other than, I mean, they're good. I've got decent units, but they can hit my HQ for 8 this turn. I've got no guard in place, and it looks like they're going to make short work of my artillery there with the enemy artillery. So once that vehicle advances, I'm going to be in rough shape. And so you can see the overwhelm happening, and in fact, there's another line of light infantry, and here comes the damage. And that tank gets to fire again, and boom, there we go. Overwhelmed. So anyway, I'm running up against these tougher decks. I'm sure if there's some ideas on how I can beat them, you'll let me know. And thanks so much for watching. We'll see you here next time on Legendary Tactics.